Before a man wins the world, he must conquer the chaos within. The true war isn't fought on battlefields. It isn't fought in boardrooms or between borders. It's fought in silence, in solitude, in the unguarded hours before dawn, when your doubts whisper louder than your dreams, when your fears masquerade as logic and comfort wears the mask of wisdom. This is the battlefield of the soul. And every man, every woman, whether rich or poor, known or nameless, must face it. Not once, but daily. It is the war between who you are and who you were meant to become. And make no mistake, the outcome of that war determines everything, because if you don't win the battle within, you will lose everything outside. Your ambition, your peace, your future. You don't need permission to rise, but you do need clarity. Most people drift through life like ships without a rudder, not because they lack talent, but because they never decided where they're sailing. They're reactive, not intentional, driven by distractions, not by purpose. You have to declare war on mediocrity. Declare war on every excuse you've ever told yourself. Because the enemy is not out there. It's not your boss. It's not the economy. It's not your upbringing. It's the voice inside that says, you can't. That's the voice that has to die so the real you can live. Think of Edison, who failed 10,000 times but never once accepted the word failure. Think of Carnegie, a boy from a one-room cottage who built an empire, not by luck, but by unrelenting purpose. Or Lincoln, who lost election after election, suffered humiliation after humiliation, but never allowed defeat to harden his vision. These men weren't superhuman. They were simply masters of one thing: self-control. They fought the inner war and refused to surrender. Your mind is your greatest asset or your greatest liability. It's the garden or the grave, and the weeds, they never stop growing. Doubt, laziness, envy, fear, they grow wild when you stop tending the soil. Discipline is the sword. Focus is the shield. And purpose? Purpose is the fire. Do not chase success. Attract it by becoming valuable. That's what Hill meant. The law of compensation says, you will be rewarded in direct proportion to the value you deliver to the world. So the question is not, how can I get more? But, how can I become more? You want more? Be more. Give more. Learn more. Every great achievement begins with a thought, a seed, a whisper of belief. But belief alone is not enough. Belief must be backed by action. Relentless, intentional, often uncomfortable action. There is no harvest without planting, watering, protecting the soil day after day, long before you see a single green shoot. And in the waiting, that's where most people quit. That's where they lose the battle, because they want speed, not stamina. They want hacks, not habits. They want results without resilience. But the universe does not reward the impatient. It rewards the relentless. Clarity is power. If your mind is foggy, your life will be too. So ask yourself, what do you truly want? Not what you think you should want. Not what society told you is worthy. What do you burn for? Do you even know? Or have you been so buried in noise that you forgot the sound of your own voice? Silence isn't empty. It's where you meet your soul. Turn off the world, get still, and listen. Under the noise, under the stress, under the doubts, there is a knowing, a direction, a calling. That's the compass. And when you find it, protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Without a clear vision, discipline becomes punishment. With a clear vision, discipline becomes devotion. There is no greatness without suffering. The myth of effortless success is just that, a myth. The truth is, growth hurts, change hurts, evolution costs, but so does regret. So does mediocrity. So does a life unlived. You choose your pain, the pain of discipline or the pain of disappointment. One leads to strength, the other to sorrow. You were not born to blend in. You were born to build, to create, to forge light from the dark. But first, you must be willing to face the furnace. Because diamonds don't form in comfort. They're born of heat, of pressure, of time. So stop running from the fire. Walk into it. Let it refine you. Let it reveal what's real and burn away what's not. Comfort zones are prisons with invisible bars. You can decorate the cell. You can pretend it's freedom. But deep down, you know you're locked in. And only courage holds the key. This is not about motivation. Motivation is fleeting. This is about transformation. Real transformation begins when you do the thing you said you would do, long after the mood you set it in has faded. It begins when you build the habit of doing hard things, of doing them well, of doing them daily. Success is not one colossal act of bravery. It is 1,000 silent victories. One in the dark when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when the only voice cheering you on is your own. And that voice, that's the one you need to strengthen. It must become louder than fear, stronger than doubt, clearer than noise. Guard your thoughts like gold, because they become words. Words become actions. Actions become character, and character becomes destiny. That's not philosophy. That's fact. And your destiny is waiting, but it will not wait forever. There is no force more powerful than a mind made up. No army, no government, no recession, no betrayal can conquer a soul that refuses to surrender to external defeat. Because every external loss is first born of an internal compromise. Every collapse in the world around you begins with a fracture in the world within you. And you, yes, you, are the gatekeeper, the master architect of the mind. And whether you rise or rot depends on one question alone. Have you won the battle within? When Lincoln stood, hunched by failure and haunted by grief, it wasn't votes or power that kept him breathing. It was the voice inside him that whispered, "Endure." That is the voice that writes history. That is the fire no man can take from you. That is the war you must win. But to win it, you must first face the enemy in its true form. It's not the critic, the boss, the missed opportunity. It's not your upbringing or the cards you were dealt. It's not the system, the timing, or the luck you never had. The real enemy is that soft voice in the dark, whispering, "Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not ready." Silence it, because the mind obeys the loudest voice it hears consistently. And right now, the world is screaming distractions at you, feeding you noise, injecting doubt like a drug into your bloodstream. You must become louder than your fear. You must learn to speak to yourself with the voice of a general before battle. The voice that says, "We may fall, we may bleed, but we do not break." Because belief, true, unshakable belief, is not a product of success. It is the precursor to it. Edison didn't believe because the light bulb worked. The light bulb worked because he believed before it ever did. Carnegie didn't command steel empires because someone handed him a crown. He forged his throne in the furnaces of rejection and self-made clarity. You have that power too. The only question is whether you'll claim it. But let's be clear. Belief is not blind hope. It is not sitting still, chanting affirmations while the world moves without you. Belief is clarity. It is decision. It is the quiet, unshakable conviction that you will burn every bridge behind you because there is no version of you that crawls back to average. That's what clarity looks like. A man or woman who stops wondering if and begins operating as if the result is already etched in stone. No room for escape plans. No mental footnotes that say, "Maybe I'll quit if it gets hard." It will get hard. That's not a bug in the system. It's the test. And that test will demand everything from you. Your excuses, your hesitation, your laziness, your fear. All must be sacrificed on the altar of purpose. You must kill who you were to become who you are meant to be. Because vision is not something you have. It's something you build. Disney wasn't born with a dream factory. He drew cartoons in the back room of a church. He was fired from a newspaper for lacking creativity. They didn't see what he saw because they didn't have to. Vision is not about convincing others. It's about refusing to be convinced otherwise. You are the only one required to see it clearly. So burn the false humility. Destroy the lie that says it's noble to be small. Playing small doesn't serve the world. It insults the gift you've been given. Your vision is the blueprint. But discipline? Discipline is the hammer and nails. Discipline is doing what must be done. Especially when no one is watching, no one is clapping, and no one understands. It's waking up when the bed seduces you to sleep a little longer. It's working the plan when doubt begs you to take a break. It's choosing growth over comfort, fire over sleep, and future over feelings. Because the moment you commit to discipline, life commits to bending in your direction. Success is not random. It is earned in minutes you don't post about, in hours no one thanks you for, in choices that seem invisible until they become undeniable. And those who lack discipline? They don't lose for lack of talent. They lose for lack of consistency. They try once, twice, maybe 10 times, and then tell themselves the lie that they gave it their all. But lions don't count the number of times they chase before they feast. They hunt until they eat. Period. So if you are tired of being broke, if you are sick of mediocrity, if you are done pretending that one day things will just change, you must make the change. You must become the storm. Action. Ruthless, relentless action. This is where most people stop. They wait for motivation. They wait to feel like it. Let me tell you something, and you'd better burn this into your bones. Action creates emotion, not the other way around. You don't move because you're inspired. You become inspired because you moved. Ford didn't wait until the world begged for automobiles. He built one. Rockefeller didn't wait for someone to invent the oil industry. He created it. Stop waiting. Start building. Start moving. Start bleeding for what you say you want. Because motion defeats doubt. Progress defeats fear. And action, consistent, unwavering action, becomes your identity. Not a goal, not a dream, a standard. And once it's your standard, it's no longer optional. It becomes oxygen. It becomes who you are, not just what you want. So yes, this war is hard. Yes, you will be tested, broken, misunderstood, and pushed beyond what you thought possible. But isn't that the point? Would you really want a life so small, so safe, that it never demanded the hero within you? Because that's what this is. A calling, not to chase comfort, but to chase greatness. Not to seek permission, but to command your space. Not to wait for the right time, but to forge it from fire and sweat. And if you fall, good. Rise harder. Rise sharper. Rise with the scars that prove you fought. Because no one remembers the man who quit on himself. But the world bows to the one who wins the battle within. You will be tempted to believe that it's enough to try. That if you gave a little effort, showed up a few days, posted some progress, you've done your part, and that fate will handle the rest. But let me warn you with truth, not comfort. Trying is not enough. Hope without hunger is a wish. Effort without obsession is a hobby. And in the arena of destiny, hobbies are trampled by those who treat this like life or death. Because to win this war, you cannot approach your future with casual energy. You cannot approach your calling with lukewarm commitment. You must burn for it. You must crave it in your bones. You must see it when your eyes are closed and feel it like fire beneath your skin. You must want it so deeply that nothing less will satisfy your soul. And when the world hands you resistance, and it will, when you face setbacks, silence, judgment, and chaos, you do not retreat. You adapt. Adaptability is the oxygen of the warrior. Circumstances change. The economy shifts. People flake. Partners leave. Trends evolve. And the ones who survive? They aren't the strongest or the smartest. They're the most adaptable. The ones who can bend without breaking, pivot without panic, learn without ego. Look at Darwin, not the version taught in school as some cold academic. I'm talking about the essence of his message. Survival belongs not to the fittest, but to the most responsive to change. If your plan fails, make a new one. If your dream shifts, evolve with it. But never, never let your purpose die. Because purpose isn't a business. It's not a title or a platform. It's the flame that won't let you sleep. It's the ache that won't let you settle. It's the voice inside that says, you were built for more. You weren't made to blend in. You weren't made to coast. You weren't made to live and die without the world ever feeling your fire. So ask yourself, why are you really here? Is it just to pay bills, post photos, get likes, and die quietly? Or are you here to leave a dent in the world? To shake the foundations of mediocrity? To build something that echoes beyond your years? Because if it's the second one, if it's legacy you're after, then understand this. Your legacy is built in your daily choices, not just your big wins. It's built in the way you speak to yourself when no one's around, in how you show up when no one's clapping, in what you do when the applause fades and the doubt creeps in. That's where giants are made. That's where legends are born. And to become one, you must fall in love with the long game. Not the instant gratification. Not the quick win. Not the cheap applause. The long game. The decades of deliberate effort. The compound effect of discipline stacked over time. Rome wasn't built in a week. Tesla wasn't funded overnight. Carnegie didn't wake up rich. Hill didn't write Think and Grow Rich after one good journal entry. These men lived their message. They breathed it. They bled it. So must you. And along the way, you'll meet fear. You'll meet exhaustion. You'll meet versions of yourself that beg you to slow down. Do not listen. Because fear is not the enemy. Fear is the compass. Fear shows you exactly where your growth lives. The goal is not to eliminate fear. The goal is to walk through it, eyes open, chest forward, unshaken. Because on the other side of fear is power. Not the illusion of power. The real kind. The kind forged in the fire of doing what scared you most. The kind Lincoln drew from as he held a nation together. The kind Mandela carried after 27 years in a prison cell. The kind you were born to hold. If only you stop running from the battle and walk straight into it. But let's be honest. This kind of courage doesn't come from ego. It doesn't come from pretending you're invincible. It comes from humility. Because humility isn't weakness. It's strength rooted in truth. It's the ability to say, I don't know it all, but I'm willing to learn. It's the ability to stand up and keep showing up, even after you've failed publicly. Even after the world laughed, doubted, ignored you. That's real power. The humility to be a student while still moving like a king. The humility to say, I'm not there yet, while still walking like it's yours. Because the moment you believe you've arrived, you stop evolving. And the day you stop learning is the day your dream begins to die. So become obsessed with learning. Not just knowledge, wisdom, applied knowledge, lived experience. The kind of learning that happens when you push past comfort and into mastery. Read, listen, seek mentors, study legends, but then act. Because knowledge without action is just intellectual entertainment. Do not mistake motion for progress. You can plan forever, research forever, study every strategy under the sun. But if you do not execute, if you do not bleed for it in the real world, it will never materialize. So go, move, doctor. And as you rise, because you will rise if you stay relentless, remember this: gratitude is not weakness. Gratitude is the armor that protects your soul when success begins to whisper, "You did this alone." You didn't. None of us do. The doors you walk through, someone built them. The shoulders you stand on, someone lifted you. The chances you had, someone fought to make them possible. Never forget, because gratitude keeps you grounded. It keeps you from losing yourself in the storm of progress. And most of all, it keeps your spirit clean. So when you win with grace. So be thankful, not just when things are easy, but especially when they're hard. Gratitude in pain is the highest form of strength. It's what keeps your heart pure in a world addicted to bitterness. And you will need that purity, because bitterness is a poison disguised as protection. It tells you to blame, to resent, to close off. Don't fall for it. The warrior of purpose stays open, fierce but open, strong but kind, focused but grateful, because that balance, that rare combination of fire and humility, is what separates the conqueror from the tyrant. It's what separates a life of noise from a life of impact. And make no mistake, you were not born for noise. You were born to leave a mark. You were not born to pass time. You were not born to merely consume, obey, repeat. You were born to initiate something only your voice, your hands, your heart could ever bring into this world. This is the truth they never told you. The war is not out there. It never was. The war is within. And until you win that war, until you conquer the doubts, silence the fear, discipline the mind, and ignite the soul, nothing outside of you will ever hold. You'll build empires that crumble, relationships that fracture, careers that fade, success that feels hollow. Because nothing built outside of alignment with your inner power can ever last. But once you win that battle within, once you take command of your thoughts, your beliefs, your habits, your identity, once you break the chains of comparison and addiction to validation, once you stop living like a victim of life and start moving like a creator of it, you become unshakable. Your external reality bends to the will of your inner clarity, not overnight, but inevitably. Your results become a reflection of your resilience. Your outcomes mirror your inner order. This is the secret every master knew. Ford didn't wait for permission. He saw the invisible. He believed in the irrational. And while others mocked the idea of a horseless carriage, he built an industry. Disney was told he lacked imagination, fired for it, laughed at. And yet he saw entire worlds in his mind before they ever touched a screen. They weren't magicians. They were warriors, not of the sword, but of the soul. And you, yes, you, carry that same divine spark, but it will stay dormant until you fight for it, until you rise from the fog of distraction and declare, "Enough! I'm done playing small. I'm done delaying greatness. I'm done living at war with myself." Because that's what this is. A war of you versus you. The smaller self versus the higher self. The version of you addicted to comfort, addicted to excuses, addicted to the past. Against the version of you that knows, without a shred of doubt, that your life is meant for immortality, not in name, in impact. Immortality in how you loved, how you led, how you created, how you awakened others. So I'll ask you now, with the full weight of this truth, will you win the battle within? Will you fight? Not just once, not just when it's easy, but every single day. Will you train your thoughts like a warrior trains his blade? Will you treat your habits like sacred rituals? Will you build your discipline like an empire of the mind? Will you get up after the 5th, 10th, 100th failure and still move forward? Because that's what it takes. That's the cost of living fully awakened. That's the price of freedom. But if you pay it, if you show up when it hurts, when no one believes, when the odds laugh in your face, if you still stand tall, still speak truth, still build in silence and roar in execution, then nothing can stop you. Because the world is not changed by those who waited. It is changed by those who were willing to die to who they were, in order to become who they were meant to be. So bury your old self. Bury the victim. Bury the doubter. Bury the excuse maker. Let them die today, and rise, unchained, unshaken, unafraid. Rise with purpose, with fire, with thunder in your heart and steel in your spine. Win the battle within, or lose everything outside. The choice is yours, and now you know.